Welcome into 11 Personnel here at SEC Media Days, where we are fueled by friends of coal, and we could use a little more coal to help get us home. We're running on fumes after 4 days in Atlanta, and today was an eventful one. And Luckett, I wasn't really sure what to expect, even though we talked about it yesterday. But it's been one of the more eventful SEC Media Days for Kentucky. I'm a little just kind of flabbergasted, a little just wow. All of that happened, and it was not what I expected. Not what I expected at all.
Some fireworks.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it wasn't just one. It was, I would say, in the local scrum and at the big stage. Like there was like, wasn't really expecting this.
Yeah, and if you take a step back, it's a lot of just little stuff. But when you pile all of the little stuff, it's like, what's going on here? Because I think it's safe to say we got a little bit of a feisty Mark Stoops.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Would agree.
I think that's a nice way to put it. So, I don't know, we can start from the top. Do we start with yours question that he didn't like, or my question that he didn't like? Yeah.
Well, I don't
think Mark is tuning into 11 Personnel on his fridge TV right now.
Did he not like anyone else's question?
I don't know. But
I mean, let's just go, like, even the cow thing came up today. Like, if you all missed it, we're going to have it on the site later, but he basically, I think
it's up right now as you're watching this.
In his 10-minute radio hit with Rick Neuheisel.
Yeah, and Chris Childers.
They asked him about Mark Pope, and he basically said, I love Mark Pope. Great leader, yeah. And then just kind of shifted into
talking about Cal.
But he was trying to say like about the partnership with Capilouto and Barnhart. But yeah, then he starts talking about Cal and the Youngstown inning. I mean, he said the Youngstown inning came out. Like he said that multiple times today. So it was, to me, Nick. I get what they were trying to do from the last season is over. This is a new season. Mm-hmm. We're going to be judged on what happens this season, not necessarily what happened last season. But we haven't really talked to him a ton about it, just a little bit. And we want to know what he said before, how did you go about fixing that for this going into this season?
Mm-hmm. You can't completely ignore it because that's a big part of the storyline is what got you here. The reason why you have 50 new players on your team. 50.
Yeah.
50 new players, 26 transfers. 13 of those were starters elsewhere. And a good chunk of them were at the Power 5 level. But that is, it was, we knew going into this that messaging was going to be a challenge. There's no other way around it. Similarly to why there was going to be a slow start in recruiting. That's just inevitable after a 4-8 season. But the messaging that they tried to convey got overshadowed by all the feistiness. Guy who didn't want to make a headline is saying shit on TV. If you say shit on TV,
not only that,
that's a headline.
He did the whole Drinkowitz did the Peak's favorite subject right now, the Epstein kind of joke, and then Stoops made an Epstein joke essentially.
Yeah, it's baffling, but you were the one who asked him straight up, and it was one of the first or second questions in the local media scrum about why they wanted to lay low, which I think is an opportunity to, as the way we talked off air was just, hey, why did you think this was the right approach?
Right.
And he said it, but it was also loaded with a bunch of other language. Y'all are looking for ammo.
The ammo part, but he also said something along this lines multiple times, y'all are just looking for something to hang on to.
Yes, which is kind of with the motivated Mark Stoops bit that we'll get to later.
But that's kind of our job.
That's how this works.
So that's kind of what the fan base wants when they follow your team, right?
Mm-hmm. They want things to hang on to get excited about your football team. And to go back, I thought it was so funny that whenever you went to write about it, at SEC spring meetings, which we noted yesterday has become more of a news event than even this is, he did one interview and it was on XM and you found it And you pulled the quote where he said, I don't want to make a headline. I'm not doing that this summer.
Yeah.
It's like, he said it out loud into a microphone that he's trying to lay low this summer. And then when asked about it, he said, I wasn't doing anything any different. This wasn't intentional. We were just busy working. And I think people would appreciate that. Well, tell the people what you're doing, Mark. That'll get people excited.
Yeah, I was just taken aback. I was a little surprised by it, I think, as we all were. And then just didn't want to like he said, we've got to fix the culture. That was the term, got to go fix the culture. Mm-hmm. Like if the players aren't ready to get this culture fixed, they need to move on. And then it seemed like the kind of messaging from the players, this wasn't Stoops, was that culture-wise it hasn't
We're keeping
changed.
It the same.
Kind of keeping the same. And then we hear about like the continuity is really important, wanting to keep the same staff. But it was really important to get a bunch of new players.
So I've got these puzzle pieces together. I mean, it sounded like, well, we'll fix it by doing the same thing we always did, just with different players.
And maybe like, we heard a lot about the core values. Attitude, toughness, discipline, pride are kind of Mark Stoops' program core values. Nick, I've been doing this job a lot. I don't know if I've ever heard him talk about his core values.
Maybe once 3 years ago it became kind of a thing, but it's not. I mean, when I walk around the facility, we're only in certain areas, but I don't see them all over the place,
Yeah, so I thought that was so that to me that's like that came off to me today. One thing we learned, that was kind of the culture fix. I think Josh Caddis, said the word more urgency in the building.
Yeah. And that was I guess if you come in with one motto that you want to say, it's a 4th and 1 mentality.
Yes, that was might as well be their slogan, it seemed like.
And we want everybody to be hyper-focused and straining hard to get that 1 yard every single day. That's kind of I guess if there was going to be a culture change, it's just leaning into that motto, but all the other stuff seemingly overshadowed all of that. But you know what, Luckett, when you asked that question, at least you look good while doing it because you got your Rowback gear on.
That's right.
Promo code KSR.
Save the best.
Get 20% off your first purchase. There's a lot of Rowback gear down here at SEC Media Days. Him and Connor O'Gara were basically matching. You want to look as good as these media members down here at SEC Media Days, go to rowback.com. They really do have the most comfortable gear, whether you're out golfing, whether you're reporting, whether you just want to have a nice night on the town. Rowback, RHOBACK.com. Use promo code KSR. You're going to get 20% off your first purchase at rowback.com. So the initial plan today, Luckett, it doesn't always happen. And I knew going into this, it was the way things work here. They meet with us, and then they go through the car wash.
Right.
Do a bunch of interviews at a bunch of different places, then do the main media room. And then oftentimes, there's, I don't want to say free time, but they'll walk around Radio Row, or as they call it this year, the Digital Drive. And that's where we get a chance to talk to some of these guys one-on-one instead of in a group setting. And so initially going into it, I said, hey, y'all go up there, let me get a one-on-one with Stoops. And that was where I was going to do the motivated bit, right? Because here's the thing. If you are on the internet and you are a Kentucky football fan, motivated Mark Stoops has probably been the most talked about thing all offseason.
It trends at certain times.
Yeah, and in a good way at times too. And we had seen some of the assistant coaches kind of pick up on it when they get recruiting wins. Like, okay, like this is, but I mean, what does he think about it? If I'm coming down here, I had to ask him that. And when I found out, yeah, you're not going to be able to get them. They're getting out of here. Like, sorry. It's like, all right, well, I got to ask in the main media room. I didn't want to do it, but I knew how to do it, and that's just to keep it open-ended. And didn't think Kevin would call me first. So Stoops, he finished his long diatribe, and then first question, it's a guy he hears from all the time, stands up and goes, so Mark, how motivated are you?
I could hear, maybe I could understand his point of view. Maybe he feels like you're trying to get him.
Yeah. But
a gotcha moment.
Right, but because here's some smart ass trying to grandstand in front of the media room. That was not the intention. It really wasn't. But some of it too, like it is, hey, we're at media days. Can we have a little fun here? He got asked about players who stood out in the offseason, and he wouldn't give us that. Like, that is like
It's the same messaging we heard in the spring.
That is the easiest little red meat you can feed us. We can't go for that. I mean, what was the one? He got halfway through a question. He's like, I'll stop myself now because blah, blah, blah.
Tongue in cheek, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, dude. So
you all will take and run with it. I don't know, man. You're an SEC head football coach. What you say is going to resonate with a lot of people.
And that's the part was disappointing. And I could even see it, like if he genuinely thought that it was a pot shot, him being like, hey, I've always been motivated. I think it's kind of a pot shot. You know, if fans want to have fun with it, you can call me motivated all you want. But instead, he got pretty mad at me. He wasn't too happy with me.
He took it personal.
Well, and what's crazy, Luckett, is honestly, the actual answer he gave is one that I know would make a lot of Kentucky fans happy, because what did we hear him do this time last year and so many times during the season? He bitched and moaned and complained about fundraising. It happened all the time and people hated it. And so what he said, I would rather be grateful. I'm grateful for this job. I'm happy to be here. A lot of fans wanted to hear it because he sounded miserable in his job last year. Yeah. So actually there was some good that come from it. And oddly enough, I think motivated Mark Stoops is actually motivating Mark Stoops. It's making him the Youngstown pissed off guy again. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's like some galaxy.
We're living in a damn nut house right now.
Some galaxy brain stuff going on here.
I feel like Chevy Chase at the end of Christmas Vacation. Holy shit, I need an aspirin. I mean, my God, this is nuttier than a freaking payday, man.
Yeah, I think there was even like a consensus or conversations in the building. They're just like, man, Mark Stoops must really not like this local media.
Oh me! Oh,
I mean, and part of the point is like when else are you supposed to ask him that?
Oh yeah.
It doesn't talk it doesn't talk to this point. I don't do anything in the off season.
Well, and like what more could I have done? I don't know. Your longest tenured coordinator left. You could have held a press conference and talked for 15 minutes. Gave us an update on recruiting. That could have been a time to do the motivated thing. I don't know.
Which is fine, but that's what this event is for.
Yeah.
You know, that's what this event is for.
Yeah,
and if you're not gonna do the radio stuff, which is fine, you don't have to.
Right.
But that's when you're gonna be asked these things. So I don't understand if you're gonna get up. You don't love being asked it, but when are you supposed to ask it?
Yeah. Because it was going to be asked at some point. It had to be. Right? Yeah. Like when Matt would get him on at time to do a 10-minute talk before the football season starts.
Yeah.
That was going to come up.
And a lot of this, to me, Nick, none of this is really on a national scope. Like the motivation Mark Stoops.
Yeah, no, I mean, not even the yokels at Louisville, no.
We had to explain to people what it was this week down here.
Yeah.
So that's not like...
It's not a Watergate, you know?
It's not like a big deal nationally, and it just feels like, I don't know, he's had some I think he's been very frustrated in some press conferences over the last year.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear. He feels like when he meets with the local media that he can't say anything without something happening that he doesn't like.
Well, and maybe because...
But we also can only go with what he gives us, so we have to report what he says.
And really it's because we're the ones that people pay attention to, that his fans pay attention to, right? I don't think many of them were listening to Sirius XM when he went on his Cal thing that are avid members of Big Blue Nation. Maybe that's part of it. And here's the other part too, Luckett, about all of this. We said it the other day. It doesn't really matter that much.
No.
What matters is just that you win ball games. And are they closer to winning competitive SEC football games now than they were a year ago? I don't know. I mean, you like some of the things you hear, but there's also reason to be skeptical about some other things. So I don't know. He's got to go out and go prove it. And if he does, then none of it will matter.
They're very much in prove it mode. to your point, there's nothing they can say. So, like, back to the messaging, it's really like a messaging issue. They have taken the approach of be quiet, don't say anything.
We're going to work.
We're going to work. That is the messaging, and nothing matters unless they win games. So, like, look up October 15th what their record is. We're not going to be talking about what happened at SEC Media Days.
It might be, if things spiral, this will be like a subheading and some long profile on why things went wrong. But I do think, at least from this, let me take off like this is my job standpoint. I'm going to try to put my shoes in the guy who sat in 226 for a long time. If I saw my coach after a disappointing year say the same stuff over and over again, like, get bit, right? At least if you're seeing him frustrated, mad, he's at least showing a little bit of emotion that he cares enough about the program still to go get it figured out. And his way of figuring out, it might be doing a lot of the same old stuff, but at least the old stuff worked. The old stuff last year didn't work. The old stuff from 2 years ago didn't work. So hopefully they can get the right mentality. I thought the one part that needed to be a little bit clear today, that I feel like is very easy, is just the focus on getting everybody pulling on the same rope. He mentioned, and he mentions it some with the admin, and like the reason why we brought these guys here today is because they are what we want in our players in our program. Guys who have been here, who've put in the work, yada, yada, yada. But the challenge that they have from a day-to-day standpoint is you got 50 new football players on your team, and you got to get them to work together, and you all have to get them to buy in on this message, and to be able to be as pissed off as their coach is when he's an underdog and he's backed into a corner and he's got to be Johnny Youngstown.
Yeah, I think overall, like they've created this because this kind of philosophy, to my opinion, he feels that he's a better coach and they feel that they are a better program and a better team when they can sell the underdog card, when they can just be like little old Kentucky.
Yeah.
So I think that is what they're trying to create, and we'll see if it kind of works. But to your point, the 50 new players, they're saying like, what's the fourth quarter program and what the yearbook thing where they do like the ice breaking with these different players, like you got to get to know a player, and that they've been more intentional, I think, about building relationships. But again, like that matters, but we're not going to really talk about that once the season starts. Yeah. Again, one of the more interesting parts to me was just him saying that we needed a complete roster flip.
Yeah.
Like for me, that I almost took that as like the culture we have and what we want it to be is not really going to change all that much. But maybe the messaging wasn't getting through to a large portion of that team last year. So you need new people in there. Yeah, new blood. And we'll see if it all works out. But
one can only hope after this.
But yeah, I think the feisty
from today.
that was feisty Mark Stoops.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. And it seems like to use the word, but he is highly motivated right now, or motivated to prove that that last year was a fluke, that he can still coach ball.
The messaging was a little sloppy, but some of the messaging we heard here from the players was high quality. We're going to get to that in a second, but we got to remind you that our friends at Monticello Bank are proud presenting sponsors of 11 Personnel. They've been with us for a very long time, and they've been with the Commonwealth of Kentucky, serving you for a very long time. More than 125 years. They're in counties all across the state, helping you get the best rates possible, whether it's on a home equity, a line of credit, a mortgage, car loan, whatever it may be. Monticello Bank is your bank because it's where people matter. Monticello Bank, proud presenting sponsors, 11 Personnel. member FDIC, equal housing lender. Visit them at mbcbank.com. We got the Vince Marrow stuff. I wanted him to be a little bit meaner. You know, Stoops said all of the right things. The players said, you know, we wish him nothing but the best. But part of me wanted them to be like, you know, Vince, I'll always love Vince, but I want to kick his ass. You know, do they really want to wish him the best at Louisville? Do they want Louisville to do well? Like, come on. You can maybe throw a jab in there. I mean, it's media days. You want to beat your rival. That's not, you don't have to gasp. You know, it's not that big of a deal. So that was fine. I will say one of the most impressive interviews I've seen by a Kentucky football player happened at this edition of SEC Media Days. There's been plenty of other headlines from guys over the years, plenty of other guys who have been interesting, exciting, fun. You know, the SEC folks really liked when Cash was yucking it up with them. Benny Snell was the best running back in the SEC, but the interview that Josh Caddis did on SEC Network with Dari, it was one of the more impressive, polished deliveries I've seen. I mean, he was as poised as it could be, explaining that. I mean, it's what you wanted to hear from the head coach, right? Like, last year was last year. We're 0-0 right now, and we are going to attack every single day. It's great. We've got it on the site, but I needed to tip my cap to him, because that was one of those where you say, I'm glad that this guy is a part of our program, right? Like, he's doing things the right way. We need to see more from him on the field, it's fair to say. But man, that's what you want to hear from a guy who's leading this turnaround this year, where they're making culture and buy-in a part of the process. It starts at the ground, and we gotta fight our way through.
Yeah, I think again, like, I think Caddis, like, the joke in the local room was like, he felt like he was like running for politics or something, like running for office.
He kind of looked like it too. He's looking sharp. I've liked Afari suede shoes, but I would ruin them way too fast. I don't know how they do that. Just feels like I would spill something on them immediately.
Crumble a cookie, get some crumbs in there or something.
Speaking of Afari, we'll have this out tomorrow and over the weekend. You can't write it all in one day. And besides, things are going to slow down. So, but his story of getting into football is crazy, Luckett. I mean, it really.
Yeah, I think it's crazy that we hadn't heard that story before, but yeah.
Yeah, because I knew that he wasn't originally from here. He was born in Italy, spent time in Ghana. That's where his parents are from before moving to America. But he tried out football because his neighbor played football, and he thought it was soccer.
You know who his neighbor is?
Yeah, it's the Steelers running back.
Caleb Johnson.
Yeah, played at Iowa last year.
Yeah.
And he wanted to quit after they threw shoulder pads and a helmet on him. But Caleb Johnson's like, no, dude, you're going to be good at this. Don't quit. And now Caleb Johnson's in the NFL, and hell, who knows? Maybe Alex Afari might be before we know it. It's about time for us to get the hell out of here, drive back to the Commonwealth. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on, Mr. Luckett, that we missed from today?
I would say, like, the Seth McGowan buzz was palpable.
Yeah.
Today, every player here gushed about him. Stoops, you have to consider the context here.
Yeah.
Wouldn't talk about anyone, but when they talked about McGowan,
yeah,
it was really complimentary of him.
Yeah, you don't get that from him, and the words don't pop off the page. But to hype up a newcomer
who has only been here for
a month,
yeah,
that says a lot. It speaks volumes. So we were looking for star power. Maybe that is their offensive star power.
Yeah, I would say, I've got some team intel up on KS board. I put up after having some conversations this week and digging in a little bit on the roster, just about where things sit. Him and I think David Gusta, like, people are really excited about over there.
Yeah.
The defensive tackle, who could play nose at some. I think he could play 3 tech. I think he could be a potentially good pass rusher for them. That was a big guy get for them. They spent some money to get him here, and so they need him to be a really good player for them.
Well, and we learn more too. You're probably going to see a little bit more 4-down stuff, a little more 4-3 instead of 3-4. However you want to call it, look at it. It feels like they've got a lot of good 5 techs. So why not have multiple out there between Gerard Smith, McQueese, Humphreys, Grace?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you were going to rank best rooms on defense, defensive line is probably the top one. So if you can play more of them, that would make some sense.
Yeah. We'll have a lot more in the coming days and weeks. If you want more of that intel, it's over on KSR Plus. UK1's a promo code that'll get you in there. I think for $1 for 2 months, something like that. We got all sorts of deals out there. But my head's spinning, my wheels are turning, and we got to get our wheels on the ground and get out of Atlanta. We appreciate you following us along all week here at SEC Media Days. Thanks to Friends of Cole for fueling us along the way. For Adam Luckett, I'm Nick Roush. It's been a pleasure.
Football's coming.